Welcome to the Intuitive Therapist Podcast with Janis R. Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as the angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis R. Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is Janis Cohen, the Intuitive Therapist here on the Intuitive Therapist Podcast. Welcome back. Guess what, y'all? If you're listening on May 19th, it's my birthday today. So wish me a virtual happy birthday. I am 56 years young, and I'll tell you what, I love birthdays. I've always loved birthdays. Always, always, always. For me, it's kind of like it's the one day I get to really demand attention. I have always been like that. So I am grateful to be here for another year. So very grateful. So very grateful to be here with you today and talk about something that really has been my experience since November. And y'all have heard me talk about the dark night of the soul that I've experienced and the really kind of really tough times that have stretched me since November of last year. And I am still kind of in the midst of things. And so this journey, this level up for me, this expansion for me has been testing limits beyond what I could have ever imagined and pushing me to let go of things that I didn't realize I was holding on to, identities, beliefs, just behaviors, and things are still coming to the surface for me. And I'm getting chills all over my legs as I'm talking about this with you. So maybe this has been your experience as well, not just in the months of March and April, and now we're in May, but maybe perhaps other times this year. Spirit is in the universe has just said, no, you're going to have to go through some really big obstacles that you did not anticipate so that you could let go of what you have been holding on to that has been getting in your way. And so I want to talk about this whole concept of leveling up. And I want to talk about what it looks like right before you do it. This whole concept came to me, it was like so fascinating because for so long, at different points in my life, I've been experiencing level ups. So have you. You just didn't realize that that's what they were. So today we're going to dive into this topic that most people don't really talk about, let alone understand, and they don't even know that it's happening to them most of the time, right? This whole level up concept. It's not a concept, it's a real, true experience that everybody goes through, right? So I'm going to talk to you about every aspect of it so you can truly understand and you look back at your life and go, holy crap, oh, that was a time when I leveled up and that's what I'm going through now. And oh my gosh, look what happened after that. So I'm not talking about snagging a promotion or moving into a nicer apartment, although really those things can happen too when you level up. I'm talking about the kind of level up that turns your whole life inside out before it turns right side up. It's messy, it's scary, and it really tests not only your commitment to growth, but also how resilient you are and how committed you are to not having to become somebody, but more of remembering who you've always been. This is a very big key theme for the collective now, remembering who you are versus doing all the work to become. And in a future episode, I'm going to talk about what I mean by all of that. Now, I'm going to walk you through what leveling up actually means on multiple levels: spiritual, emotional, psychological, energetic, and even physically, because it's all affected. Everything changes, right? When we level up, we outgrow our containers in every single way. So we're going to explore why we level up, what happens after, and how to not just survive this sacred upheaval, because it is sacred, but to come out of it more powerful, more aligned, and more unapologetically you than you have ever been before. And that's a huge theme for me in my life, is speaking my truth, claiming my importance, standing in my certainty. And that is what I help women do. Unapologetically be you. Because when you are you, there's really nothing to be worried about. You're just in your truth. And there's never an apology for being in your truth, right? Especially when you are coming from a very genuine place. So if life has felt extra chaotic lately, which we all know it has, between the freaking retrograde planets and then the solar flares and the upheavals and all the planetary everything, yeah, it has. If you're getting hit with emotional curveballs, old patterns that are trying to sneak back in, or people testing the boundaries you've just set, I want you to stick around for this whole episode. It's a little bit longer than usual, but it's going to be helpful, I feel like. Spirit's telling me, yep, it sure will. So you're not breaking down, you're realigning, you're leveling up. And the key to all of this is to be. You can't do yourself through a level up. You be. Okay. Now, leveling up is kind of evolution in motion. It's the universe, your soul, and even your biology agreeing that it's time for more alignment, more truth, more power, more peace, more freedom, more being. So I want to break this down to you. I talked to you about like the five uh, elemental ways that leveling up impacts you. So we're going to start with the spiritual aspect. So leveling up in the spiritual aspect, it means that you're being called to shed false identities. Now, those of us, everybody does this. I do it, even when I call myself the intuitive therapist. It's a label. It's an identity I have. It's a performance that I have. And anybody, any of you who call yourself mother, father, business person, president, sister, anything that gives you a label is an identity that you've given yourself, and it's false, although you are performing in a role that is called that, but that's not who you are. Okay, so when we shed these false identities, we're really coming back to the truth of who we are, which is uh, divine. Okay, in the divine, as we are divine, there are no labels. We are just existing and being, and connecting to source and living from our intuition. There are no labels, right? No identities. You stop outsourcing your worth when you have a level up spiritually. You start asking bigger questions about who you are, and you end up getting to a point where you're like, I alone am not anything. I am consciousness. And that means if I'm consciousness, I'm everything and nothing all at once, right? You may question what you're here to do. Well, you could do anything you want, Spirit's saying. You do anything you want. You can be a fisherman, you can be an author, you can be a mother, you can be anything. You could be a bajillionaire. But emphasis is on the being, right? And what you're here to do is to remember who you are. That's the authenticity piece. Authenticity comes from a genuine knowingness that who you are isn't you as an individual. It's you as it is the collective consciousness. Okay? So spiritually, when you level up, you start trusting yourself more and you have greater faith in spirit. You live from your heart and your intuition versus your thinking mind, the one that is strategizing. Okay? You live from a very genuine place of now, and you're being called to be the most authentic version of yourself than you ever have been. And that means that you stop trying to control other people, stop trying to solve their problems. You stop trying and you just be. You stop pushing and forcing outcomes. You just be. And if who you are is your true authentic self, there's nothing to do. Who you are is the exact representation of the truth. So there's no strategizing to it. You just show up in that. Does this make sense? So when you level up spiritually, you are tested from every direction. You're pushed to let go of all the past versions of yourself so that you can live from a place of now only. Because there is no future and no past. We humans like to add the timeline. And your ego is going to say, oh, no, she didn't know what she's talking about. Of course there's a future. We're all trying to reach some sort of ultimate outcome. Oh, yeah. Ego is wrong because the ego tries to keep you safe, believing that time is linear. And I've talked about this before, that I'm going to explain what the reason why the concept is the truth of all you have is now. And the reason why all you have is now is because every single moment, even the one now, is now. Every past experience was a now at one point. Everything in the future that you will experience is a now. Because in the moment, it's now, and that's all you have. Does this make sense? So, in spiritual leveling up, it's literally like you're just getting rid of all this shit you've accumulated over time. The programming, the need to be somebody, the need to do something, the need to have something. Spirit's making me very emotional right now because it's like, here, finally, just listen to what is coming through today. Stop trying and just be. Spirituality, the growth isn't an effort. It's a returning. When you spiritually level up, you are returning to the awareness, the pure awareness. You're more connected to the universe and spirit and to your truth. It's a return. So we've talked about this becoming. I've talked about it. And in part, I do believe that the becoming of you is the returning to you, right? We're not shooting for some future version. That's already there. You're already that. So if you're already that, then why do you got to try so dang hard to do something in the physical so that you can feel like you're worthy or valid or important? You find your importance when you return to yourself, when you are anchored in your truth, in the now. You feel important because you're honoring you and you come first. Now, an emotional level up can feel like grief, anxiety, elation, and rage all had a party in your nervous system. Why? Because you are no longer suppressing what you feel. You're honoring it. And if it's one thing that I have preached, and that I do preach in all honesty, I remember several years ago, I made the decision to not hold on to negative feelings. There are times where I do go over them because I haven't found resolve. So I kind of chew on them over and over and over again until I get to a point where I'm like, you know what? Okay, now this makes sense. I can let it go. But I let it go. So when we commit to honoring the feelings, we're not sitting in them. We're not stewing in them. What we do is search for the understanding of why they've showed up. It's not enough to feel the shit and then just feel bad. Your job is to be through your feelings, to notice, to become curious, and to become aware enough of what's going on in your mind, in your behaviors, in your beliefs that are perpetuating the feelings that you have, so that you can understand them, let them go, and claim your peace. Whew, that was spirit right there, y'all. Now, Psychologically, when you level up, this is a complete rewiring. So as you honor your feelings, no matter what they are, you got to learn to become comfortable with every feeling, even anger. I know a lot of people are not comfortable with anger. But anger, when it's expressed from a genuine place, is simply a statement of I, right? We're going to get to the psychological piece. I kind of went back. When you are able to say, I feel angry, that when this happened, I felt angry, it bothered me, because what happens is when we are angry, one of our rules has been violated. Meaning, the idea that we have about something was just betrayed by somebody. I should be treated like this. Things need to happen like this. A rule that I have around a value that I have was just stomped on by somebody. Therefore, I'm angry because in my mind, the rules I have are the shoulds, the oughts, and the needs to. And when you honor that and you go, oh my gosh, I didn't realize that I had expectations. I was angry because my happiness hinged on what somebody said or did. Whoa, no, no, no. My happiness does not hinge on that. My happiness and peace hinges on me and my relationship to self, how I deal with myself, how I honor myself, how I put myself first. All of that. Psychologically, when we talk about rewiring, this is when we're looking at these beliefs that, and I talked about this too in the most recent podcast episode, which is, we are programmed, we're conditioned. There's nobody on the planet that hasn't been conditioned in some way. And if you say you aren't, then you aren't aware. You have. You may have let go of some conditioning, but we all have beliefs that we have been indoctrinated into that don't belong to us. So if you haven't heard that episode, go back and listen to that. It was pretty powerful when it came through. Now, in this way, psychologically, old beliefs get challenged, right? The inner critic gets louder before it gets quieter, right? The ego's like, oh my God, you can't abandon that limiting belief because it's kept us safe. What are you doing? You can't think something new because I don't know what to do with it, ego says. I've got to make sure that you're cautioned when you try to reject me and adopt a new belief that is different from what I believe safety means. You begin to understand that survival patterns and these limiting beliefs, they're not meant to guide your life anymore. Nobody needs to be in survival mode anymore. Instead, you're being called to believe in and live from a place of peace, of being, right? Because survival is pushing. Survival is lack. Survival is fear. Survival is doubt. Survival is anxiety. And who the fuck wants to live from that place? Nobody. I don't want to. I'm sure nobody else wants to either. So if you're feeling those things, check with yourself. Ask yourself, why are you living this way? What are you on purpose choosing to believe about yourself and your life and the limitations of you that keep you perpetuating this survival pattern? And then once you become aware of that, decide, even on a micro level, each day to do something different about that. To decide to tell your ego, stop, I'm not in danger. I can choose to have a coffee right now versus having to go do some hard work. I can choose to stop. I'm not going to die, right? So energetically and vibrationally is the next way that when a level up happens, these things are affected, right? Because you're shifting frequencies. When you let go, think about this. Think about if a balloon is tethered to a stone, it's way down. It can't rise up and fly and glide. That's the word spirits give me, glide. When you level up, you literally are unhinging yourself from the stones in your life that have kept you in the same place, tethered to heaviness, and held you back. And so in this way, energetically and vibrationally, because you're shifting frequencies, you're literally lightening up. You're lightening the load. You're repelling people, situations, and experiences. And y'all, did you hear my throat? Okay, this is collective. So I'm going to talk through this and notice when my voice clears up. You literally begin to repel people, situations, and experiences that no longer match your new upgraded vibe. So whoever is going through this and you're seeing things fall away in your life and you don't understand why you're losing friends, why your relationship broke up, why you don't want to be in your job anymore, or you just got fired, or why you feel compelled to move, or you've decided to move, or you're being evicted. You're not crazy. These aren't bad things. You're leveling up because you've grown out of all of this. You're not crazy. You're not bad. You're not mean. You're not selfish. Your energy is just different. It's just changed and it's matching the new upgraded version of yourself that's opening up for more and stepping into an expanded state. That is why we're here. We're not to become a mogul or rich or blah, 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 famous. Those are all tools. Richness, fame, right? Being seen. Those are all tools. They're not who we're to become. Who we're to become is expanding just in our truth. Now, physically, you may feel exhausted or hypersensitive or anxious or just, I know for me, the sense of exhaustion has been very prominent, and insomnia for me. You'll find, even if you're kind of just starting to be aware of spirituality, right? You'll go to sleep and then all of a sudden you'll wake up exhausted. And maybe you haven't even gotten up out of the bed during the night. You're just exhausted. Well, when you're able to close off your mind, your energetic body takes over. You are doing work, okay? You're expanding in your sleep. And so what happens is it does take a lot of energy, physical human energy, to expand. And so in your sleep, when you do the work, it's energetic. Your body's doing the work, so you're going to wake up exhausted. So just understand that that's part of the process. Your body is catching up to your soul's expansion. And the soul's expansion isn't in the mind. And they just showed me 2222 on the timer as I'm recording this. And that number is very significant. It means everything's working out for the greatest good of everybody involved. And that's a divine blessing I wanted to share with you. Right? So your body is catching up to your soul's expansion, and that takes time, right? I've had headaches for days, pains in my body, aches, flu-like symptoms, hot flashes, dizziness, exhaustion, right? Where I can't sleep, and exhaustion where I have to sleep for hours and I go into coma naps where I don't wake up for 3 hours, right? That this is all the body's working. And so likely you'll come up with some symptoms that you've had too, now that you're kind of becoming aware, and your spiritual self upgrades almost immediately like that, right? It's your soul's like, oh, yep, good, we like that. And then your body's it takes time. It's kind of like you buy a shirt that's too big, right? Let's say, imagine yourself as a kid in elementary school, but you buy an adult shirt. And then you have to grow into that. And it doesn't take it doesn't take years, but it may take a few weeks. It may take a week, right? For you to fit into that bigger, expanded version of yourself, right? So it's very, very real. If you take, I don't know, Tylenol or whatever, that may help. That's okay. But just understand that as you're growing and becoming more true to who you are and realizing different things about your life, that is a level up. And so your body, your frequency is catching up with that lightness. You're becoming lighter, okay? Honor what your body needs as it upgrades. If you need to take a coma nap, take a coma nap. If you're working a 9 to 5 and you can't, maybe you go into the bathroom and you set a timer, you just close your eyes. 10 minutes, 15 minutes, or you go to your car on your lunch hour, right? Or you take a shower or a bath or whatever when you get home. That's something that's soothing. Now, big question is, why does this leveling up happen? So here's the truth. None of us are meant to stay where we are, right? There is no arrival point, because everything that you're experiencing is already an arrival. You already arrived. When you came into this universe in the human form, you already the most you could possibly become, because who you are as you come through as an infant is pure innocence. And that's God. So you've already arrived. And this notion of coming in as a sinner is in the Christian faith or Catholic faith. And I respect anybody who believes what you believe, but you're not born a sinner. You're born pure God. We become conditioned in certain ways that cause us to abandon the truth that we know when we incarnate as infants, the truth of God. So if your soul is staying in the same place and you're like, oh gosh, I know there's more for me, but I don't know, I can't move there, I can't figure it out. Staying safe feels more comfortable. Spirit's like, yeah, no. You're not going to stay in the same place. That's not how this human experience on earth works. When you stay where you are, and that becomes more painful than growing, your soul, here's the truth, your soul doesn't care about comfort. It's not interested in staying comfortable, because think about it. As your body grows, when you come through life as an infant, you got to get new shoes because your feet grow. And you learn how to walk, and then you learn how to run, and then your mind expands and you learn new things and you get to know who you are, and you learn about relationships and you in relationships and what your interests are, and on and on and on and on, right? Your soul doesn't give a shit about comfort. Your ego does, and that's not the truth of who you are. Your soul says, give me freedom. Give me expansion. Give me my truth. Let me live in my truth and full self-expression. That's what soul wants. Freedom, expansion, full self-expression. And the only reason why you struggle with full self-expression is because you are not giving yourself permission to be it. Because you're too scared. And I don't say this critically. I was this way for many, many years. You are terrified that if you show up in the truth of who you are, people will judge you negatively and they will reject you. And ultimately, they will label you as not good enough. And then you'll take that on and you'll believe that bullshit. And so you get small again. But your soul isn't about crouching in to the comfort level of somebody else. Your soul is like, oh, hell yeah, let me be as loud and proud and open and excited and happy and enthusiastic and all of that as I could possibly be, because you're here to be more of yourself, not less. Remember that. It's a remembering of the truth and the innocence and the deliciousness and the godliness that you came into this world with. That's what you're going back to become. Right? So here's the kicker. Right before you level up, everything feels like it's falling apart. And I will attest to that in all the different times in my life where I can look back and I go, holy crap, that was a level up. Everything just felt to me like it was falling apart. And I can tell you that's what I'm going through now since November. Different things have just blown up. My ideas of what I thought should be blown up. Who I think I am blown up in all the ways. Everything. Everything has been blown up in my life. So it's kind of like when you're on the precipice of real, true, like big monster quantum leap level up, this is what happens. And I know that's where I'm at. I'm shifting into this hugest jump. And so a lot of really tough shit is coming up in my face. And I'm grateful to say, I'm facing it. I'm dealing with it. I'm learning from it. I'm allowing it because I don't want to stay in the same place. So that image that you may have seen online that says your ex texts you, old habits call, your patience wears thin, right? That's real. When you are getting ready to truly let go of somebody, something, or some place, the universe is going to have something, somebody, or some place show up and test you and say, are you really done? Are you really done with that person? Are you really done with that pattern? Are you really done living that way? We need to know, because if you're not, we're going to keep giving you experiences that are going to push you to be done. The universe is not cruel. It's asking, if you're telling me you're done, I need to know you're serious so that I can help you further. Now, you'll be tempted to go back to a person, place, or thing, back to half-hearted relationships, back to people pleasing, back to playing small because it's safe and it's easier. But I'm going to tell you, the easier, it's really more when you learn to become comfortable being out of your comfort zone. That literally feels easier than keeping yourself quarantined in this encasement that squeezes the life out of you. You want to play it safe because it's something that you've known for so long? You could totally do that. But the universe is going to always try to pull you to expand. Always. Here's the thing. When I was creating my notes about this, Spirit came through and Spirit was like, you can't have your feet in both camps. You can't want more for yourself and stay in the same place. It doesn't work that way. When I say it, I mean life. Expansion doesn't work that way. You weren't born to stay small or stay safe or any of that. Like that's not why we come to Earth. When you say you want more for yourself, you either mean it or you don't. There's no, right? When you know that the energetic container of your vessel has become too small, too tight, too restrictive, the universe responds by testing the you-know-what out of you. Spirit is just seeing if you're really ready to occupy the version of yourself who actually can handle what you're asking for, which is remembering the truth of who you are. And the truth of who you are has already experienced everything, is every version of you already. But it's really like, okay, are you really ready to abandon your ego to go back to wholeness? Think about that. Are you really ready to abandon your ego, the fear, the stress, the worry, to get back to your wholeness, the truth of who you are? So Spirit is just seeing if you're ready, right? The tests aren't just so that Spirit can have a few shits and giggles on your own behalf. Promise you that. The tests aren't of your worth. They're not testing your worthiness. They're testing your readiness. Okay? And when you choose differently, when you say no to what drains you and yes to what allows you to feel free and expansive and good and in the now. When you say yes to what's true for you, guess what? You pass. And then everything begins to shift. Every time you say yes to you, your soul, your freedom, your expansion, to newness, you pass. Okay? So let's talk about what's on the other side of leveling up, when you've leveled up, okay? Here's the thing. It is bound. It's inevitable that things will change, because you can't change and then things stay the same. Impossible. It's like two opposite ends or two same ends of a battery. They repel each other, right? So when you change, everything shifts. Relationships change. People, and I've had this, people have just fallen off, or I've been like, yeah, no, I don't want to be friends with them anymore. I'm just pulling back. I don't need to tell anybody anything. I'm just moving on. And that's in honor of me. So the relationships change. People who are aligned with your pain and that old version of yourself that practice victimization, they're going to fall away, or you're going to realize that, you know what, I've become happier. I don't want to collude with Mr. or Mrs. Negativity over there. You know, that's grief worthy and liberating at the same time. But new soul aligned connections come in because you're making space. When you allow what doesn't fit anymore to leave your life and you just allow it to go, you're opening yourself up for new, higher vibe, higher frequency experiences, people, places, and things. Those who match your healed and upgraded energy. And that is the perk. But it's scary because the old version of you didn't expect any of this, didn't expect to lose your marriage or your best friend or other important relationships. And this is when it gets hard. It can feel hard as a human being, where you know you're on the right path, and you know you're feeling good, and you know you've upgraded, and you know things are getting better for you. And then people of your currently who aren't of that same vibration, they try to pull you back. They say, why have you changed? Why are you a snob? Why are you arrogant? Why do you not want to do the same things anymore? Why are you not enabling my victimization? They're like, well, why have you changed? I don't like the fact that you've changed. And you know what? That's okay. People will not like it. And it's not your job to get small again. It's your job to be able to with compassion, go, I understand why you feel that way. And this is who I am. You can grow with me, or you can watch me move on. So to truly have what your heart wants, you've got to be willing to give up what is holding you back. And that can, fortunately, be some of your most important relationships. You've got to be able to say to yourself, my desire to have and be all that I want, meaning to become and remember who I have always been. Because we're not searching in the future. We're remembering the purity of who we are. That desire to go back to that fullness, that wholeness, outweighs my desire to stay comfortable and small, to keep things the same, or to make people comfortable. And when you can say that, when you're not worried about losing anything, because you know it's part of life, then you're going to be time jumping like nobody else. Because really there is no consequence to your growth. Other people may feel like there is, but there isn't. Now, here's another thing that happens. Money starts to move. Your energetics around money changes. When you have such a positive regard for yourself, your frequency grows, and your energetic self lightens. You stop accepting less. You raise your standards around money. In other words, you aren't ever in a desperate state. You're able to hold on to money. You're able to save money. You're able to respect money and budget money. You're able to use money and take a leap and invest money. Money is a tool because you know as you're growing, as your frequency rises, as you become lighter, that source is everything. Money is a tool. Fame is a tool. Your body is a tool. Your words are a tool. Everything becomes a tool. And as you come back to this wholeness, you remember source is your connection to source is the only thing that matters because you're one with everything. Who you are, who you decide you are, the identity that you have goes. Your sense of self-worth stops hiding in the shadows, and suddenly opportunities that felt impossible start to open. It's like money comes from out of nowhere. Opportunities to make more money show up as if they were dropped in your lap, but that's not the case, always, right? What's happening is that your frequency is rising and you're no longer aligning with less. You're aligning with more, which is really cool. Your creativity explodes because guess what? Authenticity is the greatest fuel source there is. And when you're living in your truth, it is 11:11 on my clock. Powerful, powerful honoring of the fact that we're talking about connection to source, right? 11:11, direct connection to source. Authenticity is greatest fuel there is. That's when, I have found that when I'm getting on Instagram and just sharing what's coming through, more and more people are aligning with it, getting more followers, yay. But my goal is to really be in the truth of who I am so that I can invite other people to do the same. Now, your impact deepens. You begin to speak more boldly. You share more truthfully and you show up more fully. I've definitely noticed that about me. People feel it. They respond like I was just talking about. And, it's really cool because on Instagram or in social media, I don't want to follow the rules. I don't want to do the latest trend. I don't want to use the latest trending music. I don't want to use hashtags or titles, or I don't want to try. I just want to say my piece, and whoever it resonates with, it resonates. That's it. I don't want to make it hard for me. All these acrobatics. My message is my message, and it's reaching who it needs to reach, right? So I just want to do everything my way. And that's my commitment to myself. And people are energetically feeling that because they're saying, oh, I needed to hear this message today. And I love that. Peace returns when we level up, not because life is perfect, but because you are remembering that you are. Now, you're finally in alignment with who you've always been underneath the fear, the proving and pretending. It's kind of like when there's such magic happens when you decide to let go of the identity and the performing. And you're like, I don't need to be known for anything. If I needed to walk away entirely from this intuitive therapist label I would have no problem with it at this point. It's literally just kind of like a brand. And I'm okay with that. Whatever I need to be to experience the greatest amount of peace and freedom, I am all in. And that's what this huge experience that I've been going through has gotten me to, the point it's gotten me to. It's like, if there's an arrival point, it's the arrival at, I don't need these things to be me or feel whole. These are just my ego things. These are things that I've been conditioned to believe that I need. But I don't. If I'm good with myself, if I'm whole in myself, everything that I need shows up. So I want to get even more real, right? Okay, it's not easy to level up. That's just the truth. And unless you finally see the pattern of what's happening in your life, all of these pieces where things are dropping off, or you're getting tested, or things are becoming difficult, and your beliefs are being tested, every part of your life is being tested, right? And you don't take these challenges as punishment, you're going to realize that you're in the process of leveling up. Just change your perspective. And if you're realizing that, I want to give you some high impacting coping strategies to ground yourself during this process, okay? And they just showed me the numbers 444. Beautiful that angels are around. And I have to tell y'all, I have been seeing more numbers on car tags. That's how I receive a lot of information, numbers on car tags. I have been seeing so many 777s, 888s, 444s, 333s, 222s. And it's just, the universe is like, girl, you are on it. We got you. We're just affirming you're moving in the right direction. Okay, here's some suggestions. Honor your nervous system. This is huge. If you want to get to peace, you got to be able to calm your nervous system down. No mantra, you can't meditate, none of this other stuff that people suggest you need to do to manifest will work if you are in fight, flight, or freeze mode. It will never work. You've got to calm your nervous system down and create a sense of safety within, right? So that means getting still. And then if you, when you even think about getting still, your anxiety jumps. That is letting you know that you need to get still, because stillness will calm the fear, the anxiety. Take breaks. Just move gently. It's not laziness, it's soul work when you honor yourself that way. Your nervous system is the basis and the only basis for the quality of your life. Because if you're in constant survival mode, or fight mode, or flight mode, or freeze mode, your quality of life is shit. Because if you have an unregulated nervous system, you can't live in peace. Impossible. You can't, quote unquote, manifest what you want, even though you're manifesting all the time. You're never not manifesting. It's a matter of, are you manifesting what is allowing you to expand and have that peace and freedom? Or are you manifesting shit that's going to constrict you, hold you back? And you can't call in your dreams from a place of stress and survival. It will never happen. So regulate your nervous system. And one of the things that I find, if I find that I'm anxious, I'll do this. I will breathe into the lower back of my ribs, the lower back ribs, several times. Big, deep, big breaths. And I do that until I start to calm my body. Now, second thing is you create rituals of recalibration. Journal, meditate, sit in silence. Even 5 minutes a day can bring you back to center. Even as you breathe, say, I am remembering who I am. I am peace. I am peace. I am peace. And as you breathe into your lower back ribs, feel that. Just feel yourself getting present, getting anchored into your body. That's how you recalibrate. Third is surround yourself with people who hold you accountable to your growth, not your old story. Huge. Most people are caught up in their old story. But when you have somebody in your life that says, wait a minute, you're practicing old Janis again. These are the limiting beliefs that are coming up. What would you like to choose differently right now? Let other people help you reframe your thoughts and where your focus goes. It's the most beautiful thing. I love it when somebody reminds me. My husband does this too sometimes. He'll say, Janis, quit worrying. Quit saying that. You know that you're wonderful, you're strong, you're this, you're that. Focus on that. And I'm like, you know what, husband? You're right. So even my husband does that for me. But maybe you have a sibling, maybe you have a friend, maybe you have somebody on a podcast you listen to who's your reminder to come back to wholeness. Don't spiritually bypass the pain. Feel it, but don't entertain it. Don't dive deep into it. Notice it. Communicate with it. Ask why it's here, what it's trying to teach you, what you need to learn. Listen to it, and then take action on what it is that it's trying to get you to learn. Let it teach you. Let it go. Your feelings aren't meant for you to swim in and live in outside of happiness, peace, and expansion, freedom. The highest authenticity is the highest frequency you could possibly embody. Why? Because that's God. When you are in your truth, you are in alignment with Source. That's why it trumps everything, all of these other things. But the higher frequency you live, the easier it gets to be that you're like, oh, it's interesting. I'm feeling angry about that. I wonder why. Okay, let me see. I had a rule about that. Wait a minute. Why do I have a rule about that? What is this rule? Okay, how do I meet my own need so that I can let go of that rule, so I can let go of that anger, so that I don't hinge my happiness on what somebody else does or doesn't do? Now, did you see how quickly I did that process? Okay, I can let it go now. Spirit invites you to get that fast. Now, speak your truth even when your voice shakes, even if it shakes, especially when it shakes. That's your body recalibrating your truth. When you speak your truth, I used to experience this before when I would speak my truth. My throat would close up, it would clog up. I'd have to cough and clear it. When I do this, like when I'm speaking to a group or when I'm running a program, if my throat clogs up, I'm tapping into the collective who needs to self-express. So even when your voice shakes, move through that and speak your truth. And practice radical self-compassion. Growth is not a linear process. Getting back to wholeness is not a linear process. It's a choice. There's no gold star, just moments of now. Choosing you now, over and over and over again. Choosing to be kind to yourself. Choosing to have patience with yourself. Choosing to stop solving everybody else's problems and just focus on you and getting to the lightest version of you, the most expanded version of you. That's self-compassion. That's honoring yourself. Now, when you're in the thick of it, words do matter. They have weight, they have energy, they have vibration to them. So if you're at a point where you're like, you know what, I do know myself well, mantras do help, because when I can anchor into a mantra and it feels true to me, then I'm living in my truth. So I'd like to suggest some of these, see how they land for you. Say them out loud, write them on your mirror, whisper them in your coffee if you have to, but keep them close, because the voice you hear most often, it needs to be yours and it needs to be kind. So here's the first one. I'm not falling apart, I'm falling into place. Next one. Everything I release makes space for my next blessing. Next one. This discomfort is proof of my expansion. The next one. I trust the becoming even when I can't see the outcome. And I'm going to say I trust the returning even when I can't see the outcome. The next one. I am no longer available for what drains me. I am no longer available for what is not my truth. I am no longer available for playing small. I am no longer available for anything that isn't authentic to me. And last, I honor the person I am returning to by letting go of who I was pretending to be. Now, you may have to go back and listen to those things and write them down. I highly suggest you do, and I highly suggest that you develop mantras for yourself that feel true to you. Even if you're at the beginning of your journey and you say, I am no longer willing to accept sabotaging myself with what I eat. I'm no longer willing to accept less than what I know I deserve in this job. I'm no longer willing to work for a boss that doesn't respect and honor me. Do you see these micro ways? So, my friend, if you are in a season of chaos right now, I get you. I get you more than you realize. If you're questioning everything, feeling everything, or losing people who once felt like everything, right? And you couldn't imagine your life without them, or you couldn't imagine your life without the things or the places. I want you to take a deep breath, because you are not alone, I promise. I promise. You're returning to the truth of who you are. And you can't carry everything and everybody with you. It's impossible. It's like, I don't know if you've ever seen those sheep that are found that have grown pounds and pounds and pounds of wool, and they can't even move anymore. When they get that shaved off and they get relieved of that, all of that history, all of that stuff that they've been carrying around, all of a sudden their legs become stronger and their eyes are brighter and they move more easily, right? This is what is happening. You aren't broken when all this shit starts to fall down. You're breaking through. I'm telling you, you're breaking through. And this is part of the story where the heroine stops waiting to be saved and realize that she's always held the pen and can write a story in any way she wants. This is your level up season. And right now, y'all, I'm getting dizzy. Spirit has made me dizzy this whole morning. It just means that my energy is recalibrating. The angels are circling my body and my head. Whew. It's a beautiful and funky experience. So don't shrink back. Don't shrink back. This is your level up season. Don't numb out either. Step forward, move, be and move. Because your next chapter, it is not just brighter. It's richer, it's freer, it's more expansive, it's more exciting. And you, my friend, are finally ready for it. You can handle it. And on the other side of the tornado is calm and peace and goodness and shit you couldn't even imagine. Like, imagine yourself on the other side of this at the top of the mountain, overlooking the most beautiful landscape and the most expansive, endless landscape you have ever seen. That is what you're stepping into. Until next time, keep honoring your truth, keep choosing your peace, and remember, leveling up doesn't mean changing who you are. It means going back to who you've always been, to more of who you have always been, that pure awareness, innocence that you came into this world with. And of course, always live intuitively. I send you so much love as you're going through this. I send myself love. I know that on the other side of this is greatness for all of us. If you feel like somebody could benefit from this episode, please share it. If you feel like any of these episodes impact you and allow you to make strides in your life, please go ahead and rate and write a review. The more people that can hear what they need to hear, the better. Send love to y'all. Have a great week.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend. And be sure to give us some stars and a favorable review at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in.